You're listening to Keith Engle, the host of TGI Sports Talk on the National Streaming Sports Roku channel.
Football season is here, and SeatGeek is my go-to for buying tickets. Now with SeatGeek, every single ticket is backed with their buyer guarantee. We've all had plans change, and when you can't make it to the big game, SeatGeek has you covered. They're the only ticketer that allows you to return your tickets ahead of the event for credit with SeatGeek swaps. So when things come up, I know that my tickets won't go to waste. So what are you waiting for? Download the SeatGeek app to maximize your possibilities and shop live events with confidence.
Here I am talking. Nobody can hear me. Good evening, everybody. Keith Engle here for TGI Sports Talks College Football Huddle, College Sports Huddle. We're still talking some basketball, a little baseball here and there. I was going to look up some baseball information today, and I really didn't get a chance. Maybe we'll do it during the course of the show. But we welcome everybody watching tonight on Facebook, YouTube, and at some point, Roku. It looks like we're live on Roku. We had a little issue going live. It looked like on the National Stream Sports National Sports Show that I was just on. And I've had a little trouble, but it just connected. So welcome everybody watching on National Stream Sports Roku channel, as well as our Facebook and YouTube and X viewers. Thanks to all the groups that allow me to share. John Gonzalez, Sports Authorities, Flo and the gang at Bottom Line Sports. Flo, I hope you're staying safe wherever you're deployed at the moment. The folks over at Let's Talk Sports, DDH, thumbs up. Our late great friend Dan Harris and Tanner D doing a great job picking up the network for him. Ken Krause at Golf Buds, Sports of All Sorts, and the many college groups that will allow me to share this to them. All the groups. Thank you. We're going to talk, and we're going to talk a little bit about a lot of stuff tonight. We're going to talk Nico Iamaleava, if I got it right, even close, in the Tennessee situation. We'll talk a little draft noise with Shedeur Sanders and whatever might else be going on draft-wise. We can talk a little bit about Kyrie Lacy, the tragic story of Kyrie Lacy. The talented wide receiver from LSU who sadly took his own life after some events the last few months that were tragic of their own. He was involved in an accident that cost another man, a former Marine, 78 years old, his life, and tragically takes this young man's life as well. And it's pretty sad, but we can talk about that. We'll talk about Charlie Ward, former Heisman Trophy winner at Florida State, becoming the new head coach of basketball at Florida A&M. Did play in the NBA with the Knicks. We can talk Cooper Flagg and whether he'll come out for the draft, and lots of things we can get in here tonight as well. And it's your show, so we're going to let you guys drive it as we can. Dave Guyette, good evening. Syracuse was theoretically in the hunt for Nico, by the way. Nico Iamaleava. I can never say his name right. So we'll just call him Nico for the remainder of the night. He did sign, I heard on the last show that it was signed with UCLA. I do not find that as a sure thing just yet. Here's what's clear. Nico had a $10 million multi-year contract, NIL contract. And let's stop calling it NIL because it's pay for play. Let's just stop. NIL, no, there is no NIL. So just to recap, Nico Iamaleava, Tennessee star, recruited out of California to Tennessee 2 seasons ago. He's a redshirt freshman. He had signed a $10 million multi-year NIL deal, pay-for-play deal. And after his he redshirted, he played a season. So he got $4 million, over $4 million. I believe 2.2 is what he was going to get this year. He decides to say, I want more money. First known holdout. We've had other holdouts. We just haven't been publicized, I'm sure. Kids are renegotiating these deals every year. But he purposely guaranteed his team, and his dad did him no favors here. Purposely held him out of the fall of the winter portal because there was going to be a lot of quarterbacks looking to move, and he'd have more opportunity in the spring. So less than a week before the spring portal opened today, by the way, he doesn't show up to practice. He doesn't show up to the spring game. He says he wants $4 million to play this year. And Tennessee says, no. This was all about getting more money from Tennessee. He never wanted to move anywhere. If he wanted to move somewhere, he'd have gone in the winter. He waits till the spring when he thinks Tennessee has no leverage. Tennessee has to give him what he wants because they can't go get another quarterback of his level, if you will. I mean, Nico's got some potential, but he's yet to show it in my mind. Threw for 18 touchdowns last year. 11 of them were against teams that were like the little sisters of the poor. 19 touchdowns, sorry. So this was all about getting more money out of Tennessee, and they called his bluff. Bye. Reports are he's looking at UCLA for a lot less money, less than $1 million potentially. So he foregoes 2.2, gets less than $1 million. Brilliant. I don't want his financial advisor helping me out in my retirement, let me tell you. And it was reported that of the 2.2 that he got this last year, he'd gone through 1.7 of it already, or his family has. This is what's wrong with this whole college football system right now. There's no accountability. There's no rules or regulations. It's a Wild West. You can be a free agent every year. You can do stupid things or you can do smart things. And this kid did a stupid thing. Now look at it, and this is a great. Now some will say this is why the powers that be say we need a collective bargaining system. JB, how are you, my friend? Good to have you with us. Check out the Back It Up Binge podcast with JB on YouTube. Nice interview with Stu Voigt the other night. Our good friend Rick Sherlock really enjoyed it. He's a big Vikings fan, so good job there, JB. We're talking about Nico Imaliva. Unbelievable. This is what we've come to in college sports today. Here's a great cautionary tale for kids. Don't let your father be your financial advisor. The way I understand him, Nico himself had no communication with the coaches or the program during his very short holdout of 2 days before he was cut loose. His dad did all the talking. And I thought they had Tennessee backed in a corner, and it just wasn't the case. Josh Heupel stared him down and said no. Maybe they're happy to be out from the remainder of this, $6 million they owe Nico. If the reports are true, let me just do another search here real quick. Because ESPN is saying UCLA is in talks with him, as are others. Let me just see quickly if anybody else is reporting anything. News. I don't see anything where it's official. And Syracuse, Dave, would be in the hunt for Nico. One of the few teams. How many teams could even take advantage of Nico? Not that many, guys. He can't go to the SEC because the SEC has a rule that if you hit the portal, you cannot sign with another SEC team in the same season. So when you kind of take the other 52 schools and schools that need a quarterback, you're left with just a handful as you kind of think about it. again, you got to go through the 52 and see what their quarterback situations are, right? The schools that really are in play here are USC, UCLA, North Carolina, Texas Tech, Syracuse, Oklahoma State, UCF. Now, the Trojans, Texas Tech, and North Carolina have said they're not interested. At least UCLA, Syracuse, Oklahoma State, and UCF. Where's your bargaining power there? The reports are if he's going to UCLA, it's for less than $1 million. This is stupid, beyond stupid. How do you address the NIL just being open with what had to be going on in the past? Paying players. We're paying players now. We have to stop calling it NIL. I said this. I've said this for a while, and I just was repeating it just 15 minutes ago on the National Streaming Sports that we got to stop using the term NIL. It's not NIL. It's pay for play. It's always been. So same thing's happening that happened years ago, JB, only above the table. The money's able to be taxed. And it wasn't millions of dollars, by the way. And schools aren't going on. Schools get away with stuff. I mean, in the past, schools were put on probation for giving kids money to fly home for their grandparents' funeral. And there's talk about a CBA. Why would these players, first of all, you're going to get, tens of thousands of players across the country to get together in a collective bargaining agreement. Why would you do anything that restricts your movement when right now you can move every year without penalty? You could commit to a school like Nico did for 4 years and $10 million and then walk out when you think that money is not at market value. Just like the professional leagues, except one thing. I have you under contract. You can't go anywhere. You can play for me or you don't play. So kudos to Josh Heupel for staring this situation down, saying, fine, I'll find a quarterback. Goodbye. You're not Peyton Manning. Yeah, tie the grades. I'm glad you put the laughy face with that, JB. Tie it to performance. Do what the professional leagues have wanted to do forever, but can't because of collective bargaining agreements and other nonsensical things. I'll pay you I say this all the time. What you're worth is what somebody's willing to pay you. Right? So I'm not going to say Nico wasn't worth the 2.2 he was going to get this coming year. But assuming he got $2 million last year, he didn't earn it. In my mind. So if you didn't earn it, I should be able to take some back. Not take it back, but lower your salary this year to JB's point a little bit. Not tying it to grades, but for performance. And then hold them to it. Don't let them just walk away. We have got to have some kind of contractual agreements that hold kids accountable. We're teaching these kids nothing. I mean, think about it. Forget about the money for a second, right? Forget about the football aspect of it or basketball, whatever sport we're talking about. Think about it from a young adult, teaching a young adult about life aspect. What are we teaching kids? Whether it's the parents or the whatever representatives are advising these kids. When you go into an agreement for 4 years for $10 million, $8 million, $12 million, whatever the hell it is, you're not accountable. If you're not happy at the end of year 1 or year 2, just ask for more or walk away. Now, you can do that in the real world depending on your job situation, right? Most people are free agents. I get that. But you got to be willing to take the possible answer that'll be, no, you're not worth that. But you don't teach kids accountability. I'm not playing, so I'll go look for a better situation. every time things get tough, and there's adversity, we're teaching kids to run to what might be a better situation rather than fight and get better at your craft. Yeah, there'll be situations in life where you're better off in a different situation. But right now, kids are able to just do whatever they want willy-nilly, not live up to their own agreements. If your performance suffers and I bench you, you're going to take off. Don't work. Don't improve yourself so that you can prove to those people who sat you down that you should play. Nah, it's easier for me to go somewhere else where they'll just give me the job. We're not teaching kids any values. And that's what's a good thing in sports today. I'm sorry, that's a good thing in sports in history, is it teaches kids about life. I get so ticked off at not keeping score at youth games. It's okay. Learning how to lose is as important as learning how to win in life, guys. You're going to lose a lot in life. I hope nobody loses. I don't know anybody yet who hasn't lost in life at one form or another yet. I don't think anybody's batting 1,000. And sports is a great, great teacher of that. But now we're taking that away. Hello, Bo. At least a pay for play contract keeps kids from skipping games practices. Does it though? They still opt out of bowl games, Bo. Again, give them the money. I get it. I get the world we're living in today, but make them accountable. If you don't go to practice, if you do skip games, then there's going to be some accountability as far as the money I'm going to give you or take back from you, because you did not meet your obligation to me, which was to play in every game that was on our schedule, including a bowl game. That's how you stopped all these opt-outs of bowl games. Again, teach kids something. I don't want to play, so I'm going to opt out. I think it's safer for me. I get it. I get the mentality, but it doesn't teach kids anything. We just talked about this, Kyron Lacey, and again, the two things aren't necessarily related, but they are in the fact that we're taking 18-year-old kids, 17 years old in some cases, giving them a bunch of money and expecting to act like adults. Bad things happen. Bad decisions get made. Kids who might be struggling with mental health, like Kyron Lacey wasn't getting a lot of NIL money. I thought I saw he was getting $700,000. It's not $2 million. I could be wrong. I saw his NIL valued at $700 million. I don't know whether he's actually getting it, quite frankly. But you look at these two cases, and they're vastly different, obviously. There's a tragedy on one side, a tragedy in what Kyron Lacey and his own headspace and bad choices led to the death of a 78-year-old ex-Marine. And those same bad choices led him down a path of potentially being an NFL potential rising star to being chased by cops and taking your own life. Much different than what Nico did. But Nico, while Nico is still with us, thankfully, Nico's making some bad decisions or letting people help him make bad decisions that are going to affect his life forever, potentially. I read a story today about a kid, and I can't remember his name, and you won't, because we don't know who he is. But he was a very good high school pitcher, was drafted by the Colorado Rockies in the first round and was offered $4 million signing bonus and pretty much what they could pay him top dollar, as a minor league player. His father said no, he's worth more. He went back, went to school somewhere in California, was drafted in the second round. The following year, offered like $1.2 million by the Padres, I want to say. And he said no, he's worth more. And he went back to school again, was drafted like the 7th round. And then finally, when he's a senior, he wasn't drafted at all. And the kid's now like changing tires somewhere in California. You can't leave these life-altering decisions in the hands of kids or their immature, stars in their eyes, parents. I know I'm getting all over the place here. I apologize. JB says there is no accountability anymore. Everyone gets a trophy, not allowed to fail students. Yeah, just push them forward. No child left behind. Trophy for everybody. Trophy for everybody on the winning team. Yes, you could be the last man on the bench on a winning team, and I'll give you a trophy because you and your team earned it. Not just for showing up and finishing last in the tournament, last in the standings. Accountability. Sports taught accountability. Doesn't anymore. Well, it does in some cases. That's what I'm saying. Take the money. Oh, I see. I misread what you were saying, Bo. Yes, 100%. How do you take my money and then not provide everything you said you were going to? Teach you accountability. Give me back all of it. I wouldn't take back part of it, Bo. I would take back all of it. If you don't provide all of the services you tell me you will, I will take it back. If somebody came here and washed half the windows, I got somebody coming to do windows in the house here in a couple weeks. We use them all the time. They're very good, so it's not a problem. Window Genie, if you're here locally. I don't know. Window Genie might be national. I don't know. Now I just gave him a free. Isn't there a rule you don't give free shout outs, Bo? Podcasts? I got to stop doing this. Give me money. Anyway, if I hired somebody to do that and they cleaned, half the windows and stopped and said, I don't know if I feel like doing the rest. I'm not paying them anything. I'm not paying them half. I'm not paying them anything. No accountability. Tip, how are you, my friend? The next evolution on an NFL-style incentive-laden track. They should be. Players' associations will be against this, right? This is why it's laughable, Tip. I don't know if you heard me talk about the CBA that keeps being talked about in college sports. It's not going to happen. Not under the current environment. Why would any kid want to be part of a collective bargaining agreement when now they can do whatever they want that's good for them and not have to worry about anything at all? The NFL, I've said this for years, that we should make contracts more incentive-laden. I'll give you more the better you do. That's in my world. I've worked in the sales world my entire life. Sales management. My team does better, I make more money. I have a base salary, yes. But the better my team performs and the better I coach them up to perform, the more money I make. That's the way sports should be. Because then you'd always get the best of every player, every game, every inning, every down. We wouldn't take plays off. We wouldn't take weeks off. There'd be less load management. And there'd be accountability. Oh, there's that word again. Thank you, JB, Bo, Tip. We're all talking about the same thing, accountability. If you're accountable for your actions and you perform, you get rewarded. The other flip side of accountability is if you don't perform, you do not get rewarded, at least not as well. Why is that wrong? I've always had, listen, I've not been, not to offend any union people, I've never been a fan of unions because it protects the weak. Why do I need to protect the weak? Why would I want people who are jeopardizing the whole by not living up to the standard the rest of them are setting? And then the other people that are in that collective are looked at with disdain by other people because they're just lumped in with the weaklings as well. Frustrating. Ralph Williams. Ralph is a great fan of the show, and I didn't mention Ralph at the top. My apologies, Ralph. I missed. My bad. That's why I got to write everything down. I'm 65 years old, and my mind's going. Ralph Williams from RW Media. Ralph does some great stuff out of Pittsburgh, including the Sports Corner he does every Tuesday with Smoking Jim Frazier from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern. We got you in with even a bigger audience now, Ralph. Thanks for popping in. I've been a guest on Ralph's show. We have a lot of fun. And you're right. The NIL needs structure. Maybe to protect the kids from themselves. We've seen, this is the biggest, colossal, that's redundant, right? This is the most ridiculous situation I've seen a kid put him in since NIL has become a thing. Forget about NIL. We're going to stop calling it NIL on this show. It's PFP, pay for play. That's it. PFP is what we're calling all this money from now on. Because that's all it all is. It's pay for play. NIL is a made-up thing that they made to make it sound like it was a marketing endeavor. Remember any of you who watched the shows I used to do with the Mad New Yorker? And if Carlos is out there, God bless you, but he'd argue with me that I didn't understand NIL. The schools had nothing to do with it. The programs had nothing to do with it. It was all outside of the programs, and it was all just marketing. Kids were going to get paid for, putting their face on billboards and showing up at casinos. Oh, that's a good idea, by the way. No, it was always about pay for play. Always. At least there's no illusion anymore. So stop calling it NIL, because we've stopped pretending that it's got anything to do other than I'll pay you money. You come to my school and play sports. I mean, at least we're not pretending it's not a recruiting inducement anymore. So at least the transparency is there, and I guess I'm happy about that. I guess. Like NFL salary cap. You're going to have to put a cap on these schools pretty soon, Ralph. Nico's going to get less money. By the way, Bo, I haven't found, I looked quickly. I know you mentioned UCLA had signed Nico. If you have something, do me a favor and share the link, would you? Because all I can find is that they're one of the top suitors. But again, as I mentioned, there's only a handful of places for him to go. Where did I mention? What did I say to you a little while ago? He's not going to an ACC team. They don't have any money. North Carolina says they don't want him. They have some money. USC has said they aren't interested. Texas Tech said they aren't interested. That really only leaves UCLA, Syracuse, Oklahoma State, and UCF. Because again, I went through some of these schools. I can't see where any of them are going to pay to get a quarterback at this point in time. Their quarterback situations are such that they don't need to. Stuart Mandel and the Athletic had broken it down that there's 52 power conference schools outside the SEC, because you can't sign the SEC because they have an agreement that if you leave in the portal, you cannot transfer to an SEC school in that same year. So that leaves, as I said, 52 schools. There's only a handful of places he can go. NCAA has been out of control for a while, Ralph. They don't have any power. There's no governing body. There's no policing body within the NCAA anymore. For years, the NCAA was, and by the way, there's really nothing to police, right? There's no rules. There are no rules. The NCAA is waiting for Congress to bail them out. They go to the FBI when they were chasing Will Wade, who, by the way, is back in a power conference at NC State. Sean Miller, another guy to I'm sorry, not the NCAA, but the FBI was chasing around forever. He's back at Texas. Not that he wasn't at a good school, Xavier. So there are no rules. So we don't need a police force because there are no rules. And the NCAA is waiting for somebody to give them a set of rules. Why not just take control of your own situation? Don't you love the off season? Because here I am. There's Denny Fuller. Let me get JB here. I don't do windows. I'm a diva. No, windows are high. We got a lot of windows in this house. And they're giant windows, man. So I do them, but once every 2 years, I have somebody come in and do them. So I'm not a diva. Thank you, JB. There's Danny. I want to know what you think about Nico coming to UCLA. I am on fire, right? Danny, before you do this. It's the off season. Here I am, crazed off on stuff off the field. And it's the same crap that fires me up every off season because I promised to put it to bed when the season's going on. Well, there's stuff that fires me up. Oh, what'd you say up here, Danny, by the way? Then you got the damn owners that have SAT players. Oh, I have SAT players. We're talking about college. I thought that was SAT. Have SAT players who trade them so no bonus can be collected. It's frustrating. I agree. I mean, there's a downside, I suppose, to the performance-laden contracts, but something needs to happen. Because if I give you a bunch of money, and again, I say everybody's worth what somebody's willing to pay them, but earning it is a different thing. Oh, different in college now, unfortunately. This is the world we live in. Thank you, Ralph. Oh, thank you. This is the Thank You Club. Sports Corner returns on May 13th. Catch Ralph and Smoking Jim 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. RW Media. It's MFF money for free as it's currently constructed. We can call it whatever we want. Just don't call it NIL because it's such crazy freaking nonsense. I argued with the Mad New Yorker for years about this. Told me I was crazy. Because I said at the very beginning, this is nothing more than a pay-for-play scheme. A money-for-free scheme, as Bo says. It wasn't about marketing. Please. And guess who's been in control of all that NIL money? Even when we had these consortiums, I forget what we're calling them now. The collectives that are pooling all their money together. Guess who's in control of that? Not Billy Bob from the car dealership, the 1958 alumnus. No, the freaking head coach and the athletic director. They're directing where the money's going to go. They always were. One quick thing before I lose track of Nico, by the way. His brother had committed to... He committed somewhere and then decommitted because his father worked out a deal with Arkansas and he signed a commitment to play for Arkansas without ever visiting the campus, without talking to anybody from the program. His father said, "You're going to Arkansas." Let's see how that works out. I'm on fire. I think you're going to have him. 3 hours ago, was report he's coming. I haven't found. I know Bo was saying on the last show that it was a done deal, and maybe it is, right? But I can't find anything. I can't find anything reporting it. He's the front runner. They're the front runners. He's got nowhere else to go. He's not worth a headache. Here's the other thing: the kid walked out on his teammates. This is the other thing. This was a calculated move. They didn't intend to go anywhere. I do know. I think Bo brought it up that Dan Lanning is the one that kind of ratted out Nico and his dad that they were shopping around. But I don't think they ever thought they could go or were going to go anywhere. They just wanted to extort more money out of Tennessee because Tennessee would have nowhere to go for a quarterback. And again, kudos to Josh Heupel. He looked him in the eye and said, "F you." When are these kids going to get held accountable for walking out on their teammates? Again, I know there's money at play here, and I get it. Kids want to get themselves in the best situation they want to be and make the best money they can. What about all the guys that you went to war with you? I'm sorry, it's a bad analogy. I hate using war analogies, but isn't that a sign of, again, this is what we're teaching kids. Don't worry about those guys. Let them fend for themselves. Frustrating, man. Yeah. This is a quitter. Where's Rick tonight? Danny, that's a great point. This is a quitter. Again, the guys left behind aren't quitters. I had to feel for those guys. It's the guys left behind. And I don't think he's that good. He isn't so far. He was okay last year. 19 touchdowns. He threw like 11 of them against like two below FBS 1 schools, and I don't know whoever the worst team in the SEC was last year. Coward said he was told he's headed to UCLA. I'm sure. I mean, it's a safe call, Bo, for sure, because again, he's got very few. He's got a handful of choices. People have thrown Notre Dame into the mix. I think they're happy with probably Carr being their quarterback next year. But again, when you think about teams, the teams that really can afford to pay outside of the SEC, the Michigans, the Miamis, who else comes to mind? Oklahoma. These teams are all. Well, Oklahoma's in the SEC now. Sorry, Texas. These teams are all set at quarterback. Bo's correct. I believed UCLA would be where he landed anyway. They were interested in him when he was coming out of high school. Didn't pony up the money. I don't know, Danny, you can tell me. I'm not sure that UCLA has the NIL budget. I mean, it's a big school, obviously, but from what I understand, they aren't major players, not $4 million players. And Bo had mentioned that he was going to get less than $1 million. It's just a major. So he forfeits $6 million going forward. Well, I shouldn't say that. We don't know that because we don't know how this year turns out, because I guarantee you if he signs for $1 million or less, he'll be back in the portal next year. Probably sitting out UCLA's bowl game if they make one. Because they're not going to go to the playoff, right? They're going to go to a bowl game, and Nico's going to be sitting it out, going into the portal, looking for more money. That's one of the easiest predictions to make. Where's DraftKings? I want a futures bet on that. It's probably not that high. Especially for average play, right? I want to find his... let me see if I can find his... Come on, Nico. I want to see if I can find his... Here's his game logs, all right? So he threw 4 touchdowns against Vanderbilt. That's who I was thinking about. He threw 4 touchdowns against UTEP. He threw 2 against Mississippi State, the worst team in the SEC. He threw 2 against North Carolina State, who was awful. Is that North Carolina State? Yeah. Now, he did play better down the stretch, but these teams were not very good. Vanderbilt was okay last year, better than Vanderbilt usually is. But UTEP in a 56-0 win, no touchdowns against Georgia, no touchdowns against Florida, Arkansas. He didn't have any really bad North Carolina State. By the way, they beat them 51-10. They were ranked 24th at the time. They ended up being one of the worst teams in the ACC. He's a mediocre college quarterback. He's a kid, though. Yeah, he could get much better. He threw for 104 yards in a loss to Ohio State in the playoff. 104 yards. When you're behind the entire game and you're throwing. Yeah, bowl game at best and Nico won't be playing quarterback for you either. He'll be in the portal. This is crazy. Now there's other stuff we can talk about as well. Spring portal did open today. Nico's probably the biggest name in it, and he'll probably fare worse than any other big names. There's some other news. The draft's coming up, which is college related, so we talk about the draft a lot. Shedeur Sanders is probably the most. Again, I do not think this is a very strong draft. I think it's a very intriguing draft because I think it's funny. There's a deep pool of good players. There's only one great player, two great players, I would say, that we can count on. Some players will turn out to be much better than we expected. I'm not saying that they won't. There's two great players in Carter and Hunter. And a lot of really good players. But there's a lot of intrigue because Shedeur Sanders, Ward's going to be overdrafted and be number one, most likely. But Shedeur Sanders, again, the Giants brought him in, or we're bringing him in tomorrow, for a private workout after sending a whole team of people out to Colorado. There is no way in hell that the Giants are taking Sanders at 3. And I don't think the Saints are taking him at 9. So the only way he gets drafted in the first round is if the Steelers take him at, where are they, 21? Yeah, they might win, right? Talk about Tennessee. So we can continue the Nico fallout or talk about the draft. And Ohio State, by the way, projected to get 1 pick in the first round, which is a little bit shocking when you think about it. But not unheard of. I mean, I think Michigan had 22 or 23 players drafted last year off their national championship team, but only 1 first rounder. So the draft is coming. Another thing that's gone by in college football too is the spring games are because of this portal opening today, Wednesday. A lot of teams are foregoing their spring games. Now, Tennessee did play one, as I said, Saturday. But a lot of teams are foregoing it because they're afraid of players being poached when you spotlight them in your spring game. Again, and it's a great tradition. They pack the stands at these universities for the spring game. The orange and white game, whatever they call it, at Tennessee, Rocky Top, Florida, Oklahoma, Nebraska. Nebraska's not playing. A lot of schools aren't playing spring games this year. We had a conversation too, and we've had some conversation recently, switching to college basketball a little bit. Speaking of the draft, that Cooper Flagg, whether he would stay or forego with the rest of his college career, I see no way that he doesn't go. He's going to be the number 1 pick. Knipple, whatever the hell his name is. His teammate is declared for the draft today. So I saw some people projecting him in the back of the top 10. I think he's mid to later first round myself. But Cooper Flagg, I think, comes out without a doubt. I was looking at the expected rookie contracts, right? Based on draft position. when we were having this conversation before. There's a big difference between, like, number one, $62 million over 4 years. Now, if I'm getting picked 18th, it's only $19 million. Now, not that that's a little bit of money, still life-altering money. So Cooper Flagg doesn't stay. Knipple might better stay. He might get more money in college than he's going to get in the pros. It's possible, especially if he fell out of the first round. $62 million, $13 million in year one for the first round pick. The 30th pick, 2.7. So if you're borderline first round, you might better stay in school. That's not kind of Cooper Flagg's issue, though. Another interesting bit of news today, too. FSU Heisman, former FSU Heisman Trophy winner. I guess he's not a former Heisman Trophy winner. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. Charlie Ward is going to be Florida A&M's new head basketball coach. You remember Charlie played basketball at FSU and also played with the Knicks back in the 90s when they were battling the Bulls most every year and on the bad end of that deal year after year. Charlie Ward was on those Pat Riley teams. So it's interesting to see Charlie back, but he'll be at Florida A&M coaching basketball, as I said. Bo, they need to have a portal open only once after the championship and before the spring game. Agreed. Coaches have to keep recruiting their own players. But they shouldn't. And it's even worse in basketball because you're talking about a much smaller roster. John Calipari talked about it. The basketball portal opened the Monday before they played the regional final, I believe, or in a Sweet 16. And he was talking about it, that they're going to be trying to prepare a game for a game and talking about kids about what their plans are at the same time. Danny Hurley talked about it. So you talk about tampering, right? We talked about tampering a bunch of times when it comes to professional football, especially. Apparently the tampering, there's no rules against tampering either, because how do these schools and coaches, we just saw DeFreeze leave West Virginia the day after they were eliminated from the NCAA tournament to sign with Indiana. So they completed all this interview process. They made him an offer. He thought about it and made up his mind in less than 48 hours. Buy that for a minute. The portal opens, whether we're talking about basketball or we're talking about football, and dozens of kids sign with a new school the same day. Not possible that they didn't have contact. So again, it's tampering if you're reaching out to a coach. Why isn't it tampering if you're reaching out to a player? So apparently there are no rules on either side of this whole thing. So frustrating, right? What else is going on? Is there any good news I can talk about? Where do you think people stand here in this whole? And by the way, do you think they'll have a CBA? Would you, if you were a college football player, basketball player now, I don't care what level of talent you are, if you're able to get some kind of money, would you want to be part of a collective bargaining agreement? Are you nuts? Oh, God, anyway. It just makes me laugh. And the coaches, these coaches, we're getting right and left, we're getting guys fired. Troy Taylor fired at Stanford, as we talked about, by Andrew Luck for harassing and bullying female staffers. Kenny Burns fired at Kent State. I mean, he should be fired because they're just an awful football program, worst probably the worst program in Division One. But he was fired for violating university policies concerning credit card expenses, conflict of interest, code of conduct. It could have easily fired him for performance, and now we're even worried about this. I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe I should stop doing the college show during the off season because all there are things that irritate me. Let's see if I can find the baseball rankings or something. Get something to make me feel better. Let's look at the rankings because we're coming up in the College Baseball World Series, and I haven't looked at this at all so far. So let's take a quick look at the college baseball rankings, shall we? Texas, 29-5 is ranked number 1. They were number 2 here last week. Arkansas, 32-5. Teams in the South, man, they're always so good. Clemson, 33-6. Tennessee, Georgia, Oregon State, Florida State, Auburn, LSU, and Danny Fuller's UCLA Bruins round out the top 10. UCLA, 28-7. The next 5, Ole Miss, North Carolina, Cal Irvine, Georgia Tech, and Alabama. You got to be out west or down south to be anybody in college baseball these days. Oregon, Louisville, Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, Troy. Nice to see Troy in there. Coastal Carolina, who's been ranked the last few years, playing well. Arizona, Southern Miss, West Virginia, TCU round out the top 25. You don't see our friend Larry Sorensen's Wake Forest Demon Deacons anywhere here. It won't be long. Let's see. What the hell is that? Anybody hear that music playing? Oh, what we got here? So this happens because the NCAA is so reactive that they embrace the ready, shoot, aim philosophy rather than have a well thought out plan. That could apply to anything. I'm not sure exactly. Oh, I guess we're talking about the portals still, right? Yeah, but we could be talking about anything, right, when it comes to the NCAA. And again, they don't take care of their own shop. They haven't for years. Yeah, they institute a penalty here and there, right? We put show cause orders on some coaches here and there. But did they do any real policing? No. We worry about stealing signs. We say, we worry about all this other nonsense, but we never have the eye on the ball. The real things that are really ripping the fabric of college sports away. I said here last week, I still love college sports. I said last year, we're getting closer to the season, we took our summer sabbatical and came back, and I said, I'm rejuvenated. As long as I'm excited and I feel that excitement on Saturdays that, quite frankly, is much more palpable than it is on Sunday, as much as I love professional football and love my Patriots. The excitement, the level on Saturdays is so much different than Sundays. As long as I feel that passion and that excitement on Sunday mornings, getting ready for big games, I'll still love the sport. All of this nonsense that goes on off the field continues to erode that feeling for me, and I'm sure millions of others. And when it feels like Sunday on Saturday, well, I'm done. And I'm sorry to say this show will be done because I'm not going to sit here and talk about, I could talk about professional athletes on every other show. I don't need a college football huddle to do that. That's not a threat. I'm just talking, NCAA doesn't care where they do this show. I mean, but to me, it's a reality. They're eroding. There's no amateurs already. Okay, I get it. I'm embracing. I tried last year. I said before the season started, I get it. I can't change anything. I can't go back to 1980. I can't do it. I'd like to do because I'd be 20. But I can't take everything I have now and go back to when I'm 20, so there's no sense doing it. I wouldn't want to be that dumbass again anyway. So I can't go back to 1980, so I got to embrace what we have and see if I can still generate the passion for watching all these big games and big names. And when I talk about big names, I mean big names as far as universities and programs. I don't care about the players anymore. I just don't care. But I still get excited about Georgia, Alabama, Auburn, Florida, Tennessee, USC, UCLA, USC, Texas, Oklahoma. I still get excited. I really feel last year was a great college football season on the field. But all this nonsense off the field just makes it harder. Or replace this show with a freaking wrestling show like everybody else. Just kidding. I'm not going to have a wrestling show. I don't know. I don't do a pro football show. I might as well just do a pro football show. We'll talk about college and pro. We'll talk about Saturday and Sunday on Wednesday nights. Not going to do it. And I hope to God, I pray to God that doesn't happen, because the passion you hear from me, because I'm angry. I want what's, and again, I'm like this. I know I'm the old guy screaming at the kids to get off my lawn. I talk about it all the time. I want what's been taken from me. I understand the game that I thought was really innocent wasn't innocent, that there was all kinds of money being passed under the table. There was all kinds of other stuff going on. I get it. Now it's just above the table. I get it. But it's not the same. And I want what's been taken away from me. I'm a child, I know. Right? I know it. And I hate it, Bo. I hate it. I love pro sports. Don't get me wrong. But I loved the difference between, especially in the NFL, even the NBA, same thing. Basketball, football, the difference between the pros and college was always very stark. Not just in the way they played, but just the feeling, the excitement, the energy in a stadium. Go to a college football game and tell me it's the same as going to a professional game. You're crazy, or you're going to the wrong game if you tell me a professional game, the atmosphere in that stadium is the same as it is on Saturday in a college university stadium. There's not anybody here. There's not anybody anywhere that can tell me that that's the case, or not the case, whichever way you want to take it. But I'm afraid Bo's right. It's going to feel the same. I hope not. That's why I have a show specifically about college sports. College football drives it. 10 months a year. I do. Sometimes I feel like I should apologize for my anger and but it's my passion that drives my anger. No matter what we're talking about. College sports is the topic that we are talking about today. But my passion for sports is what drives my anger about the state of sports in general today. Sports was so important to me growing up, just like it was to all you guys I know was, and gals. Is that okay to say, by the way? Can I say gals, or did I just invite a bunch of emails coming my way? Maybe it's the world. Maybe it's not sports. Maybe it's just the world. And I'm a caveman. I'm not sure. I hope, I'm not. I like to think I can evolve with the world. I don't ask for much. Leave my sports alone. The whole world's freaking messed up. I can't fix that. My opinions on those things creep into my shows sometimes. I don't apologize for them. I don't try to change people's minds. So don't screw up my world of sports, where I can be because I will give you my unfettered opinion on everything. And I actually do it in the real world too, about the real world. And I do let that creep in here sometimes, not on these shows usually. But the world, I mean, you look at sports, and I mean, politics is everywhere. So, again, I apologize when my real world values creep in. But this is where I'm passionate, and they've taken that away from me. The place I go to escape from nonsense. I don't have Survivor on here, not the Yankee game. Never checked my lineup today. Well, probably too late now. Anyway, I've gotten all of this is like the Sunday stream of consciousness today. As Keith goes off and you watch him melt down in front of you. What else is going on in the world of sports? Please tell me, or at college sports. Give me something good. You got something good? What do we feel about the draft? Danny, your Rams. See Jackson Dart. This gives us a chance to throw the NFL in for, 20 minutes here to a college sports show. We can talk about the NFL. I want to hear talk about a couple of rumors I've heard. I've heard Jackson Dart, many mock drafts going to the Dodgers, the Rams. I like Jackson Dart. I think he'd be a good guy to have sit behind Stafford for a couple of years. I think that's a good move. Bo, I've heard a lot. Second, third round. And maybe you wouldn't get him if you waited to the third round because the kid from Louisville, Slough, I can't say his name. It's S-L-O-U-G-H. Without Drew, I don't know how to pronounce names. I hear a lot of talk about him going to the Seahawks, despite the fact they signed Darnold to a big contract, which I think they can really get out of easily after number retirement. That's my number retirement. We can talk about the number retirement too. We talked about Shedeur Sanders. That's a great one. We talked about Shedeur Sanders in the draft. Danny, if you're still here, Bo, you can speak up too. I know we had this conversation about an hour ago, but Shedeur Sanders and Hunter get their numbers retired by Colorado. Travis Hunter absolutely deserves it. And James, I don't think James is with us tonight. I know James often pops in, but James isn't with us. And I know he stuck up for Shedeur getting his number retired. I don't get it. He played there 2 years. Okay, he was a Heisman candidate last year. The team won 9 games. They won 12 games in 2 years that he was there. Sorry, 13 games. Got blown out of a bowl game. But some of the best players on their national championship team their numbers aren't retired. And I won't get into other teams who haven't retired players' numbers. I know Tim Tebow came up. Because that's their choice, whether, each in their school is going to have different reasons. But I don't get it. Travis Hunter, 100%. But to me, it's a disservice to Travis Hunter to retire Shedeur Sanders' number along with his. The Syracuse is moving up the board. On what? On Nico? What's the Syracuse we're talking about here? Rick, help me out. Look at that. Didn't get that guy in the lineup. Help me out, Rick. What are we talking about here? While I do something else. Excuse my rudeness. No major mistakes. What the hell? That isn't my team. Sorry about that. I'm trying to see how big a mistake I made today. Yeah, I'm fine. So help me out, Rick. What are they moving up? For you're talking about McCord, Kyle McCord, who I like to call Kent McCord, but I'm the only guy, me and Rick are the only guys who know who Kent McCord is, what he's famous for. Kyle McCord has been moving up draft boards. He's not a guy that I would take early, but if you're in this quarterback class, if you want to look for a quarterback who's going to be a project and maybe be a decent NFL player, I'm going to give you McCord. I'm going to give you Sloth. How do you say his name? Somebody help me out. So I hear Dark to the Rams a lot. I hear Sloth to Seattle. Rick, I've heard a lot about late 6th round Will Howard going to the Vikings. So we're a little bit all over the board here. So we're talking about quarterbacks in the draft. We're talking about numbers retired. Darian, what's his the quarterback for that great Colorado team? One of the best run pass option quarterbacks early on. First guy, I think. Maybe not. One of the few guys at that point in time to run and pass for 1,000 yards in the same year. What's the guy's name I'm thinking of? Darian. Can't think of his last name now. Seahawks have 4 quarterbacks on the roster. I'm not sure they're sold on a quarterback in this draft. I'm not saying that. This is just something that I've heard. And Sloth, somebody tell me his name. I got to find it now. Well, they just signed your old quarterback. But of those 4 quarterbacks, who's set other than Darnold? I still think they may. And all the quarterbacks are easy to get out of after this year. But they position themselves for Arch Manning and then throw the season away? No, I don't think so. What is this kid's name? Quarterback. Tyler Shaw. Pronounce it. So you have to go to Hooked on Phonics all the time. Pronunciation. Isn't this great TV though? Shuck. Well, yeah, that's what I would have got from Shough is pronounced Shuck. This is where my Perth education has brought me to. It looks like Koff or Schaff. Yeah, Schaff would have made sense to me. Where's he in the news, by the way? How do you pronounce? Because I left the pronunciation in there. I've had him shooting up draft boards like crazy. Mel Kiper has the Giants taken Shuck. How do you get Shuck from Shough? I do get stuck on stuff, don't I? He's got the Giants taking him at number 34. And he's got him taking Carter at number 3, by the way. Darnold lock Arset. Man. Yeah, but if Darnold washes out, You don't think they're a candidate, and you're more in touch with that situation up there than me. You don't think they're a candidate to take a quarterback somewhere in this draft? Maybe not as high as you have to go for Tyler Shuck. $1 for whoever tell me who John Shuck is. Don't look it up, Rick. Oh, Sam Howell. Forgot about him. He will make the cut. So if Darnold washes out, turns out to be more the Jets Darnold than the Vikings Darnold, the Seattle has nowhere to turn except for Locke. And I'm not saying that Tyler Shuck would be the answer. Staying with college, disagree with all the panel's take on the player who committed suicide, mental illness. I think, no, I don't think it's politically correct. I mean, I feel bad sometimes. I do make fun of people who obviously have got mental health issues, like Kyrie Irving. I don't think maybe I was politically correct. I don't think I was, though. I try to take a respectful tone. It's a tragedy. Anytime a young man commits suicide, it's a tragedy. I'm not going to blame his environment. I'm not going to blame anything. I think all of these things come into play. I think kids have too much thrown at them too fast. That plays into it. A kid who's got a mental illness, I mean, I don't want to speak for you, Rick. I think you're maybe saying that we were saying mental illness is an excuse for bad behavior. I'm not saying that in any way, shape, or form. Again, there's a tragedy. A man lost his life due to this kid's actions. I don't think that tragic mistake necessarily had to lead to another one. There's definitely something mentally wrong with anybody who takes their life. And again, I do think that I hope there's awareness about these things. I'm not excusing his actions, but the fact that he's gone is a tragedy. 2 lives, more than 2 lives, are ruined. 2 lives and all the ones around them. I mean, I'm not one, I think I'm not one to take politically correct paths. But I do think sometimes I play a little fast and loose with people who have obvious mental health issues. Aaron Rodgers, to me, has obvious mental health issues. Kyrie Irving has obvious mental health issues. I make light of them. I shouldn't do that. I probably still will. Just how I'm wired. And again, I make fun of people because I make fun of me at the same time. If you've noticed, I don't know if and maybe I'm being kind to myself when I say that. My wife thinks I am, that, because I make fun of me, it entitles me to make fun of other people. Well, I am. I don't think I take the path of political correctness myself. And I'd love to engage more in that, Rick, in the last 15 minutes, if you'd like. We can spend the rest of the 15 minutes, and Bo can certainly speak to this if he wants as well. Because I don't feel like I was being politically correct. I really don't. You get what you get from me, which is my honest feelings. I gave him my honest feelings. Nothing of what I said was excusing anything that he did. And I do think that universities and professional teams need to be more aware of people's mental health situations, just like they do physically. Everybody should be more like that. Now, and I will tell you that there are some people that use that type of thing as a crutch. I've seen it. plenty. People who just can't work because of anxiety and whatnot. But then again, I have to think, because of my position in management, that if I don't take it seriously and something happens to them, I'd be responsible. So again, I don't take umbrage, because everybody's entitled to their opinion. I don't think I took a terribly politically correct approach. I took an honest approach, because I think with me, Rick, you're going to get what I think. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong. You heard what I thought. I didn't sit and write down what I thought so that I could be politically correct. And believe me talking off the cuff rarely comes off as politically correct. I didn't know we were going to talk about that, quite frankly. But in any event, I appreciate that you watched it, and I appreciate your opinion. Bo talks about, and Bo, you can defend your own conversation if you like. I'm only going to speak for me, because I don't listen when the rest of them are talking anyway. I'm just waiting for my chance to talk. Kidding. I'm kidding. Bo talk. I manage Darnold will be more the Panthers version. You probably win 9 games with that. I'm not sure. I mean, you got one good wide receiver left. They didn't sign any, did they? I don't want to get into a bunch of NFL talk, but. And again, Rick, if you want to elaborate, I hope you will. Because actually, and I hate to go back to this. Sorry, Bo. I just feel need to go back here. I mean, but saying because I'm only going to talk for myself, took a politically correct approach is kind of broad, right? Oh, Bo's laughing at. I guess probably talking about me. I would laugh at me too. I don't know. Do you think that this is the Wednesday stream of consciousness all of a sudden? I don't know. Sometimes I have to check myself, right? I handle everything. Again, one of the reasons, and again, I was somber because again, to me, it's a tragedy. Again, all the way around. I've always handled myself in tragedy in my own life with humor. I make fun of everything. That's the way I deal with my own angst, my own sorrows, my own whatever. I make fun of everything. That's what I do with life. Unlike other people who take it way too serious. I read this one time, and we used to have a intranet where everybody could put up their little life slogan. And I had 2. One was, it's a dog-eat-dog world out there, and I'm wearing milk-bone underwear. That was Norm Peterson. And the other was, I don't know where I stole this from, but was the life is way too serious to be taken seriously. So a lot of people take life way too seriously. And in that moment, I took it seriously because there wasn't a proper moment to be funny or make light of it. At some point I will. I have made a lot of fun over a lot of tragic situations in the world. I make a lot of fun about Aaron Hernandez. Speaking to tragic situations. It doesn't mean that I think anything less of Aaron Hernandez's situation being tragic. It is. There was a kid full of potential who decided to continue to live the lifestyle that he lived when he was growing up and be a punk and a serial killer. And he had mental health issues. There's no doubt about it. But I make light of it. There was a meme that I saw after Florida Gators won the national championship that with a picture of Aaron Hernandez and said, he's so proud as he looks up at you guys tonight. Thought it was funny. Funny's always funny. So if I take a moment to reflect seriously, it doesn't change me, I don't think, or make me politically correct. I don't think. I don't know. Bo does as well. That's just, again, I think, Rick, I'll take your opinion as, what it is. It's your opinion of what you saw. And it's fair. I don't feel politically correct in my conversation there. I don't know, because again, without you elaborating and telling me what would have been not politically correct to say there, I mean, I could have said the kid got what he deserved. Would that be what people want to hear? I don't think so. I don't feel that way. I don't think Aaron Hernandez necessarily got what he deserved because I make fun of him. Right? It's like everything else, right? Everybody's got an opinion on whatever the situation is, especially when they're tragic situations. They're going to be what they're going to be. Probably, it's not going to change who I am or what I do. Again, you get me all the time. Sometimes it's something you like, sometimes it's not. We've seen up close, I think, Rick, where something has chased somebody away. I can't do anything about that. I can only be me, right? And every situation for me is different. I don't think I take an angle to come off one way or the other. I'm always me. Most of the time, I'm either angry or happy. Rarely somber. I just like to have fun. And for a minute, I took time to reflect on a tragic situation. That's all. But you're entitled to come up. And Rick, you know how I am too. I'll bring anybody on this show, any of my shows, to kind of point out where they think I went off the rails. Because it's hard to type and get your point. It's also very hard to type and get your point across. I know that. So I'm going to put this up without reading it. I probably should. Mental health is becoming an excuse for bad behavior. He killed a man who served his country, entitled kid who took the coward's way out. No, that's a fair, non-politically political correct way to say it, for sure. It's not exactly the way I feel, though. I don't disagree with your sentiments necessarily. But I do think mental health leads to bad behavior. I didn't say I excused it at all. I don't believe. And if I did, then I gave you the wrong impression. He killed a man who served his country. I said that. And didn't... and said it was tragic. And again, he's entitled because the universities have entitled these kids at way too early an age. I'm not using it as an excuse. Those are realities. Did he take a coward's way out? Sure. I've had friends who have taken their own lives. They didn't kill somebody first. Quite frankly, right? He didn't kill somebody in a car accident like this poor kid. He didn't kill two people and then kill himself like Aaron Hernandez. But I don't say it's an excuse. It's a contributing factor to their bad behavior, though. That's a fact. Whether I make fun of it or do what I did tonight, which again, you got my real feelings on it. All of what you say here is not inaccurate. But again, mental health is also a reason for bad behavior. It is becoming used as an excuse. I agree. And I said it. I see it at a lesser level, right? Where people talk about being anxious and having anxiety and not be able to work. Well, guess what? I've had anxiety my whole life, overcoming extreme shyness. People are shocked that I do this. My wife is shocked that I tell her I'm shy. I still fight it. That's a bit of a mental health issue, by the way. When I was a kid, I didn't speak to women. I didn't have a ton of friends. I had really good friends, but not a lot. I couldn't get outside of my clique. I entered a job that I probably never should have when I went into the beer business selling beer and having to talk to people I didn't know. Well, I got to know them, but I got out of my comfort zone. My comfort zone was to be a loner. I still retreat to that. That's a mental health issue, but I don't use it as a crutch. I overcame it. And people can overcome things. Again, that's a minor little thing. I'm not saying I overcame some great mental health challenge. And you're right. It can be used as an excuse, but it's also a factor, contributing factor too. So it would have been the first time you were critical. It would have been, right? Again, Rick's not wrong. You're absolutely right. I should probably stop on Roku because I probably should have stopped a half hour ago. So I apologize, Robert. I didn't turn off. Bo got me all excited, and then Rick came in, and I got. I didn't turn off the Roku channel at 8. Anyway, my apologies, Robert. It used to be you'd get bumped, by the way. If you were on live and another show came on, that bumped you. Because I know Mac would tell me all the time, start yourself back up, so-and-so bumped you off. So I just kept forgetting about it on the shows where, like, I'm short a half hour on Roku because Robert comes on at 8. Or Tip comes on Friday mornings, and I sometimes go long in my interviews. But anyway, somehow that's changed. And I have to shut myself off. So anyway, Rick, just to go back to your comment here as we get ready to wrap up the show, I certainly appreciate what you're saying here, and I don't really dispute any of that. But again, I often take the same approach, but again, there's larger things at play here. But you're not wrong in any of this. The kid's not right. Again, I didn't. It's a tragedy that the man he killed is dead, and it's a tragedy that he's dead. There's a life cut short, 2 lives cut short. All the people around them affected. So, you know, and a young life snuffed out. It was going to be snuffed out regardless whether he killed himself or not, because he wasn't going to live the life he could have, and it's all his own fault. I'm not excusing anybody's behavior. Tragedies are tragedies, though, whether I make fun of them or I don't. We all know how flat the earth is. Anyway, you're entitled to your opinion, Rick. I'm only. I suppose, right? I might go over a minute or two here. I don't know. I want to stay on this topic just for a minute. I know you respect everybody's opinion, Rick. And again, I'm not necessarily debating you or trying to school you. I promise you. I'm only trying to give my opinion about why I don't think I was terribly politically correct. I will agree that I don't know if I was trying to do anything. I was trying to address what I thought was a tragic situation. I don't think I went as far as being politically correct. I did not say what you said here, right? And I don't think those comments are that far off base. But again, each one of them has other little pieces that could be added. It is what it is. We don't have to belabor the point. And I respect your opinion too. And you and I agree on more things than we don't as far as the way the world is today. And, similar to, people's sense of entitlement, because it isn't, by the way, that sense of entitlement is not restricted to kids playing college sports or professional athletes or musicians or actors. It's in the world everywhere you look today. I've had many people that have walked into my ranks at work who had, the day they walked in, they felt they were entitled to everything that somebody else who'd been there 15 or 20 years was entitled to. And people who have used, again, I won't say mental health specifically, but again, when we're talking about things like anxiety, that's a mental health issue. People use it at work all the time. You just can't do it today. Put on your big boy pants and come to work. That's what I do every day. But a lot of days where I'm like, oh, I just can't do it. And guess what I do? I do it. So yes. And by the way, to be fair, Rick, to be fair, and I don't know who said it. Somebody brought this up and I definitely agreed with them. Oh, God, now I lost my train of thought. Somebody had said during the conversation that we're talking about, maybe Bo can help me out. Oh, geez, I lost my train of thought. We had said that, oh my God, isn't that terrible? Boy, I feel terrible now because I had a brilliant thought. It's just totally gone. It's what happened to get to be 65 years old and you're losing your mind. Anybody help me? Does anybody read minds here? Because, Bo, you're not going to be able to help me if I can't even get started with my thought. As we were talking about this kid, Lacey, which is also the cat that has fallen asleep on my foot's name, by the way. What were we talking about, man? How? And it kind of pointed to the fact that, it wasn't an excuse. Whatever. Oh, there's strong people. That's what it was. Again, everybody, not everybody. Most people struggle with something at some point in their life, and strong people overcome it, and weak people don't. It might have been Balestra. I don't remember who brought not Balestra. Bistrella. Sorry. Where are the Bobs and Steves on these shows? Bistrella said it, I think. That a lot of people encounter struggles in their life, and strong people find a way through it. Again, I talked about my own situation. Again, not a severe mental health issue, but one that I struggled with and found a way to overcome. I still do today. My wife thinks because I do this that I'm not shy. Because we go out and I'm gregarious with people that I don't know. It's a defense mechanism more than anything for me. But I learned how to do it. I had to survive in the work that I did. Weak people don't. If I was weaker than I am, I would have succumbed to it and been a loner my whole life, not married. I'd have $50 million and I'd be playing golf all by myself somewhere. Your wife thinks you can? Can what? I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, read minds. Yes, I know. I get that. I'll tell you a quick joke before we go. I hope my wife can often hear me upstairs when I get excitable, which I have been several times tonight. I'll tell you guys a funny joke that I heard today. I heard it last week, actually. And you can tell your wife this and duck if you'd like. But it's. I saw a little clip. There's this. I think I told the story on the Sunday Stream of Consciousness, actually, or maybe even here last week because I don't remember anything. But there's this man and wife. I think they're man and wife. They do these little funny little skits on Facebook Shorts. And he's talking about, I've got proof to his wife. He's talking, I've got proof that if a man and wife die at the same time, the man arrives in heaven. I'm making up the timelines because I don't know the Bible as well. 5 minutes before the woman. And she goes, how do you know that's true? That can't be true. And he says, it's right here in the Bible. And he quotes the chapter and the verse. And it says, and the man arrived in heaven, and there was 5 minutes, which may or may not be 5 minutes, of total silence. And that's how I know the husband arrives before the wife. You could probably get it more accurate than that, Bo, but that's kind of you get the gist of it. It's pretty funny. I told that to a guy the other day at work, and he looked at me like, I don't get it. Think about it, dude. Oh, you get it, Bo? Rick, you can use that. Duck. Don't use me as a reference in your next argument with your wife. Guys, we've had fun tonight. I don't know why. We're all over the place. But that's what we get when there's no... Is it 30 minutes? Thank you, Bo. Is it 30 minutes? Is that right? I don't know my scripture. I'm probably going with Aaron Hernandez, and if Kyron Lacey went that way or whoever's gone that way, I'll be down there. And why is it so hot, and why is this handbasket so small? Is it 30 minutes of silence? That makes it better. It's even better. Oh, what an interesting show tonight. Bo, thanks for coming in and propping me up a little. Thanks, Danny, for your input earlier. We had a lot of viewers, not a lot of contributors, but that's okay. We still got a good view out there. Vinny, a couple of people I see out here. Tip, I think Tip might have weighed in. Missed you on the show tonight, Tip. Taylor from the Michigan Sports Truth podcast. Check out Taylor's stuff if you're a Michigan fan. Bistrella, you should check out Taylor's podcast. Vinny Fiorillo up in Amsterdam, New York. Vinny, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. And a bunch of other people have been here. And thank you to all of you that will watch us later. We can carpool our last good deed of all. Right? Yeah, for the first time, I can try to save the earth while I'm on my way to hell. Because speaking of political correctness, I guess I'm going to just keep going tonight. I can't get off the air, apparently. So my last good deed will be, yes, carpooling and saving gas, right? Because I've done the best job I can of leaving the biggest carbon footprint I can on this planet when I go. I'm still working on it right now. I got TVs going in every room in the house. Guys, have a good night. By the way, I did away with my normal Wednesday night music because every time I play it, which I bought it, I've got people skimming the little bit of money I'm getting from Facebook for my shows because I'm playing their music during part of the show. Do you like this music? Here I am. I'm really all screwed up today. This is my almost. I love this one. I have this French one. How you guys like this one for the college football show? I want to go with it. My mind. I've been drinking later, but I don't know. Leave your comments. Let me know. Keith Engle, the TGI Sports Talk. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your comments. Comment later. We'll see you next week with another episode of College Football Huddle with Keith Engle here on TGI Sports Talk, guys. Have a great night. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Football season is here, and SeatGeek is my go-to for buying tickets. Now, with SeatGeek, every single ticket is backed with their buyer guarantee. We've all had plans change, and when you can't make it to the big game, SeatGeek has you covered. They're the only ticketer that allows you to return your tickets ahead of the event for credit with SeatGeek swaps. So when things come up, I know that my tickets won't go to waste. So what are you waiting for? Download the SeatGeek app to maximize your possibilities and shop live events with confidence.
You're listening to Keith Engle, the host of TGI Sports Talk on the National Streaming Sports Road.